Speech. Now, give your speech. Tell us what you're going to do for our country, but not hate speech. That I'm going to serve this country. And then there's hatred manifested towards the rest of the people, even to the whole country. Not hate-saturated service. There's another word as we look at the Bible. It says, perfect love manifests without fear. Fear-saturated service. I'm going to preach because if I don't, they'll be against me. I'm going to talk, I'm going to say, I'm going to visit, I'm going to do that because if I don't, they will accuse me. Hate-saturated service, not acceptable to God. The Pharisees, they prayed. The Pharisees too, they went up and down seeking one proselyte. Hypocrisy saturated service. If our service is saturated with hypocrisy, with pretense, and with lying, and with deception, it is not acceptable unto the Lord. Our service can only be acceptable to the Lord if it is love saturated, not fear saturated, not hate saturated, not hypocrisy saturated, not self-saturated. You see those Pharisees, and you see, look at Judas Iscariot in the midst of the 12. And Jesus sent them out 2 by 2. And they went, and when they came back, they said, with the 70, even the devils are subject unto us through thy name. Now, Judas Iscariot, how do we classify his service? Because all the while he had his mind on betraying Christ, and he pretended so much that nobody could single him out among those disciples. But he had his pretense, he had his lying, and he had his covetousness, wanting to serve the Lord, and yet he was serving. How will God look at my service? If I do my service saturated with love, they throw something at me, I throw it back at them, and yet I'm still preaching, and yet I'm still walking, and yet I'm still serving. Not acceptable. Gain saturated service. What do I get out of this? What do I earn out of this? What money will I earn out of this? It's not what we gain we're looking at. When we're thinking of love saturated service, we're thinking of what can I give without asking back a refund? What can I give without asking back my reward? What do I give, not thinking about what I gain, about what I get? It is not a gain-saturated service. It is a love sacrificial service that we're giving unto the Lord. And it is not a kind of trade by barter service. Oh God, I'm going to remain in your service. I'm going to remain in your work if you do this. Now, how about you saying that? God says if, and then I'll say, okay, hold on, God, I hear your if, unconditional service to you. Then can you hear my own if also? If you give me this, if you do that, then I will serve you properly. It is not a kind of condition we give to the, let me have my way and then I'll serve you. We're talking about the acceptable, love saturated service to Christ. How do you do that? It tells us in John chapter 13, I'm reading from verse 34. In John chapter 13 verse 34, a new commandment give I unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you. You can't do that without having his nature. You can't do that without having his mind and his heart. As I have loved you. What kind of love? the Christ manifest, as he served us, as he served the world, as he sacrificed everything he had for the world. It was, number one, a loyal attitude. He was loyal to the Father. He said, the Father sent me, and I do always those things that please him. Our service, as we're serving to love, we do that not because of who that person is, who that person is. We do that because of our loyalty to the Lord. If there's no loyalty to the Lord, there's no love. It is the loyalty that we call love. Obedience unto the Lord. It is obedience to the Lord that shows we love him. If you love me, do what I say. If you say you love God and you're doing this service in obedience to God, then it becomes, hear this, unconditional obedience. Unconditional love. We had not done anything good and Christ died for us. He wasn't waiting until they do right. No, he says, while we were yet sinners, Christ died for the ungodly. He did it unconditionally. Some people will even reject. Some people will not be saved. All the same, he did it unconditionally. Why? In loyalty to God the Father, in obedience to God the Father. As his love was unconditional, our love too is unconditional to him. In serving the Lord, I'm happy I serve. I'm not so happy, I keep on serving. I'm sad, I keep on serving. I'm glad, I keep on serving. I feel feverish, I feel physically challenged. All the same, because it's unconditional. We keep on in loyalty to God, in obedience to God. They didn't do that for me, they didn't give me that. Our love to God and in the service of the Lord is unconditional. Obedience, conditional. Virtue. Our love must have the virtue that will show that we're really born again. As Jesus said, for virtue is gone out from me. We too will serve in love. And the virtue we have, the skill we have, the energy we have, and this everything we have, we lay it on the altar because virtue. We're not doing an easygoing service that when everything is all right, then I'll show love. Love has loyalty. It has obedience, it has virtue, and love has edification. We edify others. If I'm serving and my service